Diamond Blade Knives, pride and prestige through performance.
Diamond blade knife is worth the price. The friction forging creates new properties in it that can't be achieved by any other method. It's an extremely fine grain size. The grain size in normally processed heat-treated D2 is 5 microns. The grain size in the friction forged D2 is 10 times finer, 0.5 microns. There's no steel that has ever had that fine of a grain size. It can only be achieved, to my knowledge, with the friction forging process. Fine grain means it can be harder and have sufficient strength.
The flexibility of this blade is astounding, and yet the edge is much harder. You're looking at a Rockwell rating of in the mid-40s for the spine of the blade, which gives it a lot of resilience and ruggedness. But a Rockwell C of 65 on the edge, which is where you want hardness. Now the edge is not brittle. It's amazing that this blade can bend without affecting the contour of the edge. So the edges stay sharp, and they're very hard. So that's just what you want in a hunting knife.
Very interesting product line that's coming out with this friction forged technology. Enhances the hardness and the toughness of the steel on the blade for longer use in the field to maintain the sharpness a lot longer in the field.
Everybody says they have a good knife, but you really don't know how it performs until you've tried it in the field. And one of the best ways to try it's on a hog. They got tough hide, a lot of grit and grime in their hide.
Outdoorsman that gets one of these knives will be using it for countless animals, without having to worry about sharpening it or getting it sharpened.
I used a diamond blade on the one boar that I shot, and it's amazing. For those of you not familiar with it, a wild pig has got hair like sandpaper, and this knife would do several others. Truly amazing.
Not knowing what to expect, the knife performed really well. I think I skinned 3 or 4 hogs with one knife. I was surprised because most knives don't. Everybody says their stuff will hold up, but the real test, I think a real test on a good knife is hog hide. So they held up really good.
It's a product that can be used many times on a particular hunt and maintain its sharpness for a substantial amount of time based on any other blade that's ever been released or is being manufactured presently.
I think the main advantage of the diamond blade is its toughness.
The knives from Diamond Blade come from the factory razor sharp, and they stay razor sharp for 10 times longer than ordinary knives. So that alone is sufficient to make it a real boon.
In normal steel, normal D2, the chromium is tied up, some of it into carbides, so it's not available to make the knife stainless. In the friction forged D2, it's distributed throughout the thing, so it's much more stainless than stainless steel. Salt water will just totally not affect it. So the fine grain in the friction forged material allows it to be harder because of the fine grain and the hardness that gives it the exceptional edge holding ability.
Diamond Blade Knives, pride and prestige through performance.
This technology, friction stir welding, coupled with PCBN tools, is what enables us to perform the friction forging process that produces outstanding material properties on these knife blades. The FSP-D2 is stainless because of the increased chromium. The chromium in the steel makes it corrosion resistant. We found that the FSP of D2 steel leads to increased performance of blade edges. Dramatically increased. I probably should have dramatically. The friction forged blade cuts 50% more. It's 50% sharper. Great sharpness, and it lasts for a long time with these friction forged blades. So we've got 3 premium knife alloys, D2, S30V, S90V, compared to the ultra premium knife alloy, friction forged D2. The friction forged is 50% sharper than the other steel, than the best of the others, than the S30V. So we have a sharper initial blade, and we have a much longer lasting blade. The grain size is between 200 and 500 nanometers, 1/10 of the grain size in traditionally processed steels. We're off the chart on grain size down below. We're off the chart on hardness. We have hardnesses up to 1,000 Vickers, and we have outstanding sharpness, toughness, and durability in the edge as a result of this new material that's created in the friction forged region of the blade.
Diamond Blade Knives. Pride and prestige through performance. The polycrystalline cubic boron nitride, or PCBN tool, rotates counterclockwise with multiple tons of friction forging downforce into the D2 steel. The friction forging area plasticizes the steel. The friction forged grains are nanosized at 0.5 microns, which are 10 times smaller than normal heat-treated D2 steel. The friction forged zone will have a Rockwell hardness between 65 and 68. Diamond Blade Knives. Pride and prestige through performance.
Continue to use this as a means of wearing the blade, so we don't have to, wear it by hand with a chop. That's our old chop tester. So we came up with, we actually modified this, got rid of the silicone paper, went to rope.
We say when it's 3.0 or greater, it's no longer a usable blade. So what we would find with materials other than friction forged materials is that with these cuts on the rope, a 3/4 inch standard manila rope, that it would dull, as those graphs indicated, much quicker than the friction forged. So the friction forged, we'd run the test, put it on the REST, conduct the test back and forth, and we'd find that we were up in the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of slices before we get to 3.0.